Ladies and gentlemen, this is very hush-hush. Tonight, the secret word is radio. R-A-D-I-O.
Really?
You bet your life!
Sono lieto di poter rievocare in poche parole le esperienze delle prime trasmissioni radiotelegrafiche a grandi distanze da me felicemente eseguite attraverso l'Oceano Atlantico il 12 dicembre 1901.
Holy snapping bra straps.
It's a podcast. Republic of Avalon Radio. It's 0 hours, Avalon Standard Time. Republic of Avalon Radio.
The best radio in the whole wide world!
You're with the Roar!
Republic of Avalon Radio. You are with The Roar, and I am Jim Fidler. Welcome to episode 97 of The Roar. Great big welcome to any new listeners. If you've just discovered us recently, we're glad to have you aboard. Big hello to all our friends over at onsug.com, listening over there on Frank Nora's, his stream and his RSS channel as well. And, of course, to all you long-term Roar Core people, a great big thank you for sticking with us and riding out all the bumps and the twists and the turns with us over the last while. Some of you, in fact, even for the last 5 years. Yes, indeed, over 5 years of roaring. It boggles the mind. And even more mind-boggling, of course, is episode 100, which is coming up very, very soon. Of course, this is episode 97, so 98, 99, boom, we're there. And where is there, you may declare? That would be live. We're recording episode 100 live at this place that we keep referring to for the last 96 episodes as The Pub, which, for you who don't know, is Erin's Pub on Water Street in the downtown of the oldest port in North America, right in the heart of the Republic of Avalon. So we'll be there next Thursday night, September 30th, 8:30. Come early to get your places. We'll have some music and a few little things and give away some stuff and all that kind of doo-dah, hoo-ha. So we just want to have a very nice time, and we want you to have a nice time. So if you've been listening to The Roar for a while now, there's a great chance for you to see us. I'll be getting up and doing quite a substantial set of music, which to some may be quite a good thing, because I'm not out playing around in the pubs all the time. Very rarely, in fact. So this is a chance for you to hear a little bit of my older stuff, a little bit of my, I'm just reaching over and grabbing my coffee, a little bit of my newer stuff, and a few musical guests, and all that kind of stuff. We've got some good musical friends that have been part of Republic of Avalon Radio over the last 5 years, some of whom will certainly be there. It's difficult when it comes to music, when it comes to musicians. Even Thursday night is better than a Friday or a Saturday night, but still, people have previous obligations and so on. So we're going to pull it out of the hat. We're going to have a great time. Mark it in your calendars. 8:30. Like I said, give yourself a little buffer zone. Get there early. September 30, which is next Thursday night, at Erin's Pub. And we'll have a chat with you. And as I said, we're going to be recording the show live. So episode 100 will be kind of a milestone. Well, it is a milestone, certainly. Episode 100 is a milestone. So, yes, and we also have, I should mention, Dave Panting is playing as well. So we'll have a little bit of music leading up to some more music. Dave Panting will be rounding out the entertainment for the night. So for those of you who need to get home early and get tucked in because of early rises for work in the Friday morning, no problem, we got you covered. And for you who might just get caught up in the revelry and just enjoying yourselves and might want to stick around, it won't all end early. Dave Panting will be taking the stage and keeping you well entertained. I guess you probably know, if you're in the area and you're going to attend, you probably know enough about Newfoundland music to know Dave Panting. Doesn't really need much of an introduction, but there's a kind of a good chunk of Figgy Duff going on with Dave and Rollins Cross and several other things that he's done. Plus, let's not discount him as a solo artist and a solo recording artist and a producer and all kinds of things, multi-instrumentalist. So, I mean, even if we just had Dave Panting, we'd have a great time. But you throw in a little bit of Jim Fidler and a few other people and stuff, and a bit of libation and giving away some tings and tings, some CDs and t-shirts and things like that. No cover, it's free, entrance is free, so you're good to go. So hopefully we'll see you there for that next Thursday at Erin's Pub. Let's see here. Indeed, we just survived quite a gust of wind and quite a splash of rain. Yesterday, Hurricane Igor blew through. And many people are saying it's the worst bit of weather they've ever seen in their lives. We usually get tail ends of hurricanes and things like that. And it usually doesn't amount to much of anything. But yesterday there were several states of emergency. Bridges washed out and streets, roads washed away and all kinds of things. It was really, really bad. And we got through it pretty well ourselves. What we'll do, we've got a little segment for you at the end of the show, so keep listening. We actually recorded some during the hurricane, and we'll share that with you, and you'll get to hear how we made out. There was some loss of life with this hurricane. Nothing too serious, I don't think. I haven't really heard today. I haven't been listening to the news or anything. I just kind of got my coffee going and jumped in here so that we could get this show out to you. It does take a little bit of time, a little bit of production. Some people might wonder about that. Somebody was asking me the other night. It's funny, it's kind of a loaded question. They ask you, well, do you do any editing, or is it just, what you record here? With the R9, I'm out recording. And, well, to anybody who might be curious or wondering, I've often thought about doing a kind of making of the Roar, just to show people some of the things involved. It's kind of arduous, though, because you'd be listening to a whole lot of stuff, and it's not very interesting, to be honest with you. It's like watching surgery or something like that. So, but what I do is I consider each episode of the Roar to be kind of bits and pieces of this and that, bits and bobs. So what I do is I kind of collect things up in a basket, and then when it's all done, depending, some things have taken a lot more work in the studio, and some not so much. It's still a job, though. There's still a lot of work goes into putting one of these episodes together. So at the very least, I guess the way I would describe it is I take all the various bits and pieces, figure out kind of the flow of the show, what order to put the various segments in and stuff like that. And I just start putting them together and cross-fading the various little pieces. So if, for example, this episode here, I record this is always the last thing I do, by the way, the talking bit of monologue or whatever at the beginning. This is always the very last thing I do before I put a show together. So when that piece is done, I will do the various bits of processing, normalize the levels, and there's a few secret processes that I put things through to give you this high fidelity experience. Best listened to on headphones and all that kind of stuff. So I'll save that. When that's done, I'll just call that talk or something like that. Then I might have a walkabout segment, so I just call that walkabout. Save that in the folder. So on and so on. So then I just kind of start out, I load up the intro and do my little usual foolishness that I do quite often, a little bit of old-time radio or something at the beginning, something quirky. And I crossfade that into the intro with Marconi talking about receiving the first transatlantic wireless message. And that was at the time, actually. That wasn't even, 20 or 30 years later. That's a brilliant bit of audio, actually. And then the whole thing, and our theme music, which is a tune, an instrumental tune that I came up with one time. I talked about that in a previous episode of The Roar. It's called Genesis. And then I drop in the little jingle then, whichever one. I tend to lean on, I like the best radio in the whole wide world thing. Little foolish thing I did here one day. So I'll crossfade that. And crossfading is, instead of just simply, putting one file in and then just putting the next file at the end, I'm very careful about where I place these things, in terms of, is it right on the edge or does it slightly overlap? If you know what I mean, that's crossfading, is as opposed to just dropping each file in one after the other, end to end. So yeah, I'll do that. And then I will crossfade the talk bit, just as the da-da-da-da-da, you're with the roar, brown. And just before that's over, I'll plop my this bit here, the little monologue thing. And then after that's over, I'll drop in a couple of more jingles and go to the next segment. So it's a bit of work to kind of get it all together. And then when it's all done, it's always a good feeling. Then I have to do that's a WAV file, a 24-bit WAV file. Then I have to do a bit conversion, bring it down to 16-bit. And I have to then save it as an MP3, 128K MP3 file for you guys to put on your iPods and portable MP3 devices and all that kind of stuff. And then, of course, all the show notes. I have to go through and listen to the whole episode. That's probably my least favorite part of it. Well, it certainly is my least favorite part. I love the editing. I love producing the content. I love out walking around with Lillian and talking, here in the studio, doing all these things. My least favorite part, though, would definitely be the show notes. I have to listen and make note of all the various little bits and pieces that we talk about. But it's a great convenience for you, because then you can search through afterward, or you can look and see what's in an episode before you listen to it. If there's that little song or that little interview or something that you want to go back to, you can just simply look in the show notes and find it. And of course, if you have the Republic of Avalon Radio iPhone app, there's a little search button there, and you can just say, for example, if you were looking for Jackie Sullivan, and you can't remember what episode was that, episode 16 or episode 53, you just don't remember, you could just type in Jackie Sullivan, and any episodes with her in it would just show up. So as much as I don't like doing it, it's a great convenience for you guys, and I don't mind doing it. It's just no fun, that's all. So there you have it. That's the rough breakdown on putting together an episode of The Roar. And episode 100 is going to be very interesting, because we're going to be doing a lot of live recording. That's going to involve recording music and going around the room and talking to all you guys who've been listening to The Roar, and see what stories you guys have to share with your fellow Roar listeners and all that kind of stuff. And that's going to be a lot of editing. We'll be recording that one on the 30th. When will that be out? Well, the 30th is a Thursday night. So I think we should be able to get that show up for you guys by Sunday. We'll keep our fingers crossed, but I think that would be a reasonable expectation. So it's 30 days hath September. So Friday's the 1st, 2nd, 3rd. Yeah, 3rd of October, I guess we should have episode 100 up for your thirsty ears. Great old quote from the Powder Blues Band, who I actually played with one time in Halifax. And that was a great experience. I might have mentioned that before on here. But they're a great Canadian sort of blues, a little bit of, what would you call it, light blues or popular blues with a little bit of jazz influence and great horn section, great rhythm section. Had a lot of fun. Played with them in Halifax in 1985. Way back when. In any case, let's just push on here. You all know about the 100th episode at Erin's Pub, September 30th, next Thursday night, 8:30. You know about all that. And there's not really much else to tell you about at the moment, except for the fact that this episode, we are very, very glad to welcome aboard, as previously promised, Ross Travers, horticulturist, agriculturist, Farmer Ross, whatever you want to call him. Hey, let's put it this way: this man has a green thumb. I think he has 2 green thumbs, and I think all his digits are green. So we growing this year. He's been giving us a hand with our stuff. We've mentioned before that we're growing a few things here this year for the first time. We've meant to for a long time, but finally we get around to it, and we decided to bring him in. He's been doing Radio Noon on CBC Radio for a lot of years, so he's an absolute wealth of information. Very glad to finally get him on for you guys. So that's coming up very shortly, and then after that we'll kind of give you our little report on the Hurricane Igor situation and let you kind of live through a little bit of that with us, just a little taste of it. And suffice it to say that we're here and we're alive, and the house is still standing. So I won't try to cliffhanger you guys into the edges of your seats or anything like that. So, all right, Ross Travers, Hurricane Igor, episode 100 coming up. The iPhone app, if you have an iPod Touch or an iPhone or an iPad, don't forget to get the Roar app. Go into the App Store and look for Republic of Avalon Radio and grab it. You'll love it. And let's get things started here with a little bit of music, I figure. Haven't played the song on the Roar for a long time. It just seems right. The feeling seems right to me with just getting through that hurricane because of our location here in the Waterford River Valley, and having Ross in talking about us growing things and being here in the Waterford River Valley. What more appropriate song than a song I wrote about Lillian going for little walks down by the Waterford River. This is a little song from my Midnight Rover CD. A little thing called The Merman. Enjoy! You're listening to Republic of Avalon Radio. as she wades into the river. A chill tickles her thigh. In her eyes I see forever, and I wish I had wings to fly. I can see her walking away. If I called her, what would she say? I can see her smiling at me, but I know that she doesn't see. She goes down to the river with the sunshine all in her hair. When she goes down to the river, does she know I'm waiting there? Does she know I'm waiting there? If she knew, would she care?
Hi, this is Eddie Grant, and you're listening to the Republic of Avalon Radio. Take your time.
When you talk about love, when you're in the mood, you talk about sweet love. When you feel rhythm.
Hello, this is Roger Hodgson, and you're listening to Republic of Avalon Radio.
When I was young, it seemed that life was so wonderful, a miracle. Oh, it was beautiful, magical, and all the birds in the trees, well, they be singing so happily, oh, joyfully.
Republic of Avalon Radio.
Radio for lazy people who don't want to do nothing.
You're with the roar.
All right, folks. Well, here we are, as previously promised, a few episodes ago, a few episodes well back now, with Ross Travers, who, well, I think what we'll do is probably let him introduce himself, because I don't know, me being, we were just talking away, and I was kind of telling Ross that I'm a little bit of a rebel somewhere, and so all these things with people with pieces of paper and all these things and letters after their names, I don't know a whole lot about that, but what would you be if you know, for whatever description?
Oh, well, I mean, some people call me an horticulturalist.
Okay.
But basically, I've been trained in agriculture and been practicing agriculture for most of my adult life.
Mm-hmm.
We operate a greenhouse operation in Torbay, Traverse Gardens, where we grow most of the plants that you would plant outside.
And that's not the easiest spot to be doing that either, is it really?
Well, we call it fogroponics. It's we have a bit of fog, as some people recognize, probably a little bit more than some other places, but still, with the greenhouse environment, of course, you can get things started and
extend the growing season.
And the growing season is extended a lot.
Yeah.
But it's we've been in the business now for almost 30 years, and that's over the years. Then you pick up a lot from your customers, and you learn a lot from people that are growing other things and things that you never thought could grow here. All of a sudden, somebody's growing it.
That's where I wanted to go. That's exactly where I wanted to go. And let's dispel the myth. People have this idea. A lot of people have this idea. They don't know a lot about Newfoundland. They don't know where it is. But what they do know, or what they think they know, is that it's way up north somewhere, and probably the most you're going to be able to grow might be a few turnips or a few cabbages or potatoes or whatever. And, what a lot of people don't know is right where we're sitting here right now is actually south of Paris.
Yes, that's right.
A lot of people don't know that.
Yes, and there's an amazing variety of vegetables we can grow. We can grow things here that can't be grown, say, in some of the prairie provinces. A lot of things that can't be grown in the prairie provinces because it's a cool season, and growing in a cool season, of course, most of the members of the cabbage family, and there's fruit like black currants, for instance, which is one of the northern sources of vitamin C.
Yep.
Black currants do beautifully here in Newfoundland, whereas if you were in southwestern Ontario, you'd have difficulty growing them.
Yeah.
Too hot.
Yeah. We were just talking as well before we started recording. Part of my life I grew up out in a place called Long Pond in Conception Bay. Long Pond, or as townies call it, Long Pond Manuals.
Right.
Which there was no amalgamation that I was ever aware of, but out there now there's McDonald's and Burger Kings and big old banks and all that. When I grew up there, I grew up as a little boy, out on a living on a dirt road, all excited when the tar truck came through and put tire down on the road so we could all go out in our bare feet and play soccer and all that kind of stuff. And right where the McDonald's is in Manuals now, there used to be all apple orchards, not growing little northern, small little green sour apples, but great big, I guess, Macintoshes and whatever. I don't know.
Yes, well, Jim, the important thing when it comes to growing any plant is to have the right type of plant and the right variety or cultivar of plant. When it comes to growing apples, if you have early varieties of apples, then they will mature fruit in Newfoundland. The problem is that sometimes people try to grow the wrong variety. Like if you, for example, just recently there was one of the chain stores imported a whole bunch of apples, trees for people to plant, that bought them for planting, and they were varieties that barely mature fruit in Nova Scotia, so they're far too late varieties. And it's unfortunate, but some people get disappointed then. They say, we can't grow apples. Well, sure we can grow apples, but
the right ones.
But you got to have the right one.
Yeah. And I guess also, another thing we were talking about earlier is the fact that on the Avalon Peninsula there are certain, I guess, what you could call hot spots. So, I don't know how many of 4, 5, 6.
Yes, what I call microclimates.
Yeah.
Microclimate is a very important factor when it comes to growing. Because you take the Waterford Valley, for example.
Where we are here now.
Yes, it's one of the best microclimates in Newfoundland.
Yep.
And then you've got, Conception Bay South. The whole of Conception Bay South is a much preferred area for growing horticultural crops because you have the modifying effects of Conception Bay rather than out on the other side of the coast where you have to open to the North Atlantic.
What about all the iron in the soil out that way?
Well, that's a factor, but it's not really a major factor. The major factor is the modifying effects of the ocean. Conception Bay would be you wouldn't get as much fog, and you have earlier start to the season.
And you're in a protected bay as opposed to like Tor Bay is kind
as
of
opposed
open.
to the northeast coast.
Yeah.
I'll give you another example, Jim.
Okay.
Let's say the coast of Labrador, and a lot of people think, well, you can't grow things on the coast of Labrador.
Yeah.
Yes, you can. You can grow the cool season crops and that sort of thing. But on the coast of Labrador, there's a. I should back up a minute. There's a measure that we use to measure the ability to grow, and it's called heat units. A heat unit is the average of the day and night temperature within a frost-free period. Okay.
Okay.
This is just a comparison, so to give you a comparison, because the numbers themselves might not mean much, but as a comparison, in around the St. John's area, we have about 1,900 to 2,000 heat units or degree days. On the coast of Labrador, it's 900, but you can still grow things. But if you go inland with the modifying effects of Lake Melville into Goose Bay, they've got more heat units than we've got air in St. John's.
There you go.
Yeah, because of the modifying effects of the water.
Wow.
And if you use a comparison, okay, say St. John's is 2,000. Annapolis Valley is almost 3,000.
What about the Waterford River Valley here?
Well, that would be well above that. No, it would be about probably 2,200.
Okay.
Because, and then if you go up in southwestern Ontario, you're talking about 4,800, and that's why they can grow peaches and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But it's interesting because the plant breeders over the years for vegetables, for example, have come up with varieties that do very well in short seasons.
Now, are these somewhat not necessarily genetically modified, but are these bred species?
These are selected the same as man has selected plants for 2,000 years.
Same as dogs and horses and things like that?
These are, you cross them and then you select out the best.
Yep.
Apparently these tomato plants are chosen to be,
for this climate.
For this climate, yes.
And they're doing really well. They grew very quickly.
Yes, those tomato plants, and there are varieties of tomatoes. Even in my lifetime, I've seen the advancements in plant breeding where, for example, corn. Now we can grow corn because the plant breeders have developed varieties for short seasons.
Okay. I love fresh corn.
Well, you'll have fresh corn now in a few weeks' time because I'll get you some.
Oh, yeah.
Sounds good to me.
I got it growing. We got a great big patch of corn.
Boy, that sounds good to me.
and I love to try out new varieties.
Well, sweet corn, man, I'll tell you.
And I've got 3 or 4 new varieties now. But we've seen a lot of advancements by the plant breeders, and these plant breeders are working not only in Canada but all over the world and that sort of thing. And we have access to the seeds and the plant material, and so it's interesting to try out some of these new things. The tomatoes, for example, which one time was difficult to get ripe outside in foggy old Tor Bay, but now I've got some ripe already out in the garden, and this is the middle of August.
Yeah, just the right breed.
The right breed, yeah.
Now, what are those tomatoes again that we like so much? What are they called?
Roma?
No, it's not Roma. It's.
Oh
goodness.
What are they called?
They're cherry tomatoes.
The cherry tomato, yes. The grape.
They're the European. They're a common European. What the heck are they called?
Remember.
Almost like what's that guy who plays with Montreal? Camilleri.
Yeah.
It's almost something like that.
Oh yes, okay. That's the name. That's the name of the variety.
Something like that.
Yes, it is just
Campari.
Campari. Oh
yeah.
yes, okay. To drink Campari.
would they? I wonder if they'd grow here.
Yes, in the greenhouse, but not outside.
Okay.
Yeah, because these are greenhouse varieties. Yeah.
Because those things are just delicious. Those tomatoes.
Yeah.
These here that we have grown. Do you know if these are cherry? Can you tell if they're cherry tomatoes?
If I knew the name of them, I could tell you.
We've been calling them Bill and Fred. But there's a couple of wee ones starting there, aren't there?
I was so surprised it came out yesterday, and there are tiny little tomatoes starting.
Yes, that's right, and it's you've got a bit of shade here, but if they were in full sun, they'd be you'd have big tomatoes now.
I'm going to bring them out front tomorrow morning.
Yes.
Where we get sun in
all
the
morning.
Yeah.
Yes.
But they're doing well for out here then, I think.
Yes, that's right, yeah.
Now, something else I've been wondering about before we sort of get back to the what people might consider to be exotic things. I've been hearing, it's funny, we were talking to somebody one evening at the pub and getting, they were freely sharing their advice.
Yes.
You know, the thing about free advice.
I know.
Yeah. So he was saying, what you really got to do is you got to get out with Q-tips and, do all the...
Oh, you mean trying to pollinate the pumpkin plants and all that sort of thing?
All that kind of stuff.
Or to pollinate the cucumber plants.
And I'm no expert myself, but I have a kind of a gut about certain things. And to me, that's okay, that's like just trying to force nature along. And sometimes you may need to do that, I understand. But the thing is, this person, after giving us all this great advice, when pushed, stated categorically that we were talking about tomatoes specifically, said that they never had any success with tomatoes. So
well.
Okay, well, let's do exactly what he's doing.
So we haven't done any of that.
No. It's no problem to grow the plant. Like gardening or growing is something like cooking. There's basic recipes.
Yep.
And if you follow the basic recipes, you can't go wrong. Now, there's lots of variations. Like in cooking, there's a basic recipe for a cake. Mm-hmm. But look at the variations.
Yeah.
And in gardening, there's basic recipes.
Beer. I'm thinking about beer.
That's right. Yeah. So if you follow the basic recipe, you can't go wrong.
Yeah.
But and that's why, and of course, like any occupation, there's lots of gimmicks. And lots of misinformation and that sort of thing.
That's what.
It is actually, when I was, getting things ready for out here, there's so much. I was really kind of confused as to what to get.
Oh, I know, it's very confusing.
What kind of soil? There's so much stuff.
A lot of products, a lot of gimmicks, a lot of doodads and gizmos and
that's right, yeah.
Formulas and regimes
and then there's the latest craze, right? And a lot of these have come and gone.
Yeah.
But the latest one now is growing the tomatoes in a container upside down.
Yeah.
Well, you can imagine with our wind conditions in Newfoundland, a big gale of wind, the next thing it's cracked off pretty quick, right?
Yeah. And people pinning up, people getting a little bit too. See, here's the other thing too. Like we have a cat.
Yes.
And our cat is in and out to his whim.
Yeah, sure.
And he's clean, he's healthy, he's 10 years old, and people think he's like a year old because he's not that big a cat to begin with. But anyway, what I'm saying is, children left to play outdoors and be in the sunshine and swim and roll in the hay tend to have less. From my observation, when we were growing up, and I know it's a lot about the food and everything and this and that, but what they're putting in, additives in food products and so on. But these kids that they're raising in bubbles now seem to be all full of allergies and this and that and whatever else.
Well, this is one thing that I think a lot of people realize is that if you're not exposed to the natural elements and that sort of thing outside as well, then you don't have the same immunity as
mother's
sometimes.
milk. Mother's milk for one thing.
But and it's a recognized fact that fresh fruit and vegetables and growing them and appreciating them and that sort of thing,
and not poisoning them in the process.
It really makes a difference to your health and your mental health as well as your
physical
health.
God, yeah.
This is my first year really for getting my hands dirty in the soil.
Oh, is that right? Yeah.
And I just love it.
Yeah.
I never thought I would enjoy something so much.
Yeah. Well, that's great, Lillian. Yeah. That's great.
And it's not so much from a gardening perspective. We're thinking of it more from a, I don't know, let's just say, for example, from an Old Testament perspective. In other words, people growing food. Simple.
Yes. Let me if you don't mind, I'll tell a story. It was about 3 or 4 weeks ago. I was down in Fortune, and a friend of mine who is 90 years old, or 91 actually,
Okay.
has a garden that's better than mine. And he's out there every day, and there's not a weed to be seen. And he's even he lives in the town of Fortune, and right in the town, and there's not much space where his house is. And he decided that he wasn't going to plant flowers. He has a big row of turnips out by the side of his driveway, coming in the driveway.
Yep. Why not?
I'm thinking the same way, actually. That kind of thing.
Oh, yeah.
But we don't have many flowers here. It's
Yeah.
just we're trying to.
Yeah.
There's not a whole lot of food, mind you, but
We're
giving a hand at it.
It's a great and this man is living on his own. Gets up every morning and he's asking me questions about, what can I plant next year, right? At 92, boy, that's a great
Yeah, we have a friend of ours out in Bonavista. He's in his 70s. How old would Keith be now? 77?
Yeah.
Sunset Strip. He's originally from Jamaica, and he lives out in Bonavista, and he grows. You know, grows all kinds of things out there.
Yeah.
From root vegetables to herbs and whatever. So I think that's another thing. You know, food is food. Good, clean food. Part of what keeps people going well through their 70s, 80s, and 90s is having a reason to be, having something to get up for in the morning and not be useless.
Yeah.
B, growing some food. C, eating it.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And
keeping in health, keeping in shape, doing it, you know?
Exactly.
And the learning experience, the lifelong learning experience.
Keeps your brain, keep learning.
I don't think there's a day goes by that I don't learn something new, you know?
Yeah, it's the same with me, with music and recording and all that stuff. Exactly the same,
Yeah.
Anybody thinks they knows it all? That's the end of the game for them.
Well, what I realized a long time ago is how much I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's great, and Jim, one of the things that helps a lot now, but you really need to have a bit of basic knowledge, and helps a lot, is the use of the internet to find to look up information.
Some good information. Yeah.
But if you have a bit of basic knowledge about the subject, then it helps a lot, because sometimes there's like I was saying, there's lots of gimmicks and lots of misinformation that you have to have a little bit of, or go to reliable sources. Now, if I was recommending anybody starting out in gardening and are looking on the internet and that, the reliable sources are usually university sites.
Okay.
Yeah, agricultural college sites. Sites that are where there's recognized. All the university sites are pretty reliable. Now you got to take them in context, because if you go to the University of Georgia for growing in Newfoundland, it might be some of the varieties might not be suited.
Yeah.
But still.
Are there any sites that you know of specifically? Now, most of our listeners aren't here, so I guess probably the overall best bit of advice to give everybody is, when you're looking for information about growing anything, make sure you put in your Google search the place where you're growing it.
Yes, that's right. The general the general region. Like if it's Maritimes, or if it's southern U.S. or if it's Hawaii or whatever, then you have to look at the information for that region. But it's interesting. I get a lot of calls from people, I saw this on the internet. Can we grow it here? Well, no, I don't think so. But sometimes then it's like, if you have a problem with gardening, trying to find out what the problem is can be a bit time-consuming on the internet sometimes, and sometimes not very reliable. It's like, trying to diagnose your health problem on the internet, right?
That's right, yeah. I've noticed that, you get different varying opinions and different information depending
Yes.
on where you go, so you don't really know what to be doing.
And a lot of voodoo and a lot of sort of pop culture witch doctor.
Here's my advice, or here's my advice that I give a lot of people who are starting out, say gardening or whatever. But right in your own neighborhood, your own community, there's usually people that have got experience and knowledge.
Yeah,
and that's a very valuable resource right there.
Mm-hmm.
And if you and one thing about gardening, it gives you the opportunity to interact with people a lot in your own community. Like if you know someone down the road and you saw their garden, they'd love to show you your garden.
Yeah. Yeah, people are always proud of their gardens. I think,
That's right. And so I've met a lot of people that way.
Something that just came into my mind. Okay, we got this idea of growing food. I think I can't encourage people more seriously to get some kind of good water filtration system. Because as much as you might think that the water where you are is good, there's sodium fluoride in it. Go do a little bit of research on the internets and see what sodium fluoride is and what that's been used for in the past and the effect it has on the brain and all these things. The whole idea of guzzling down great quantities of chlorine on, week in, week out, month in, month out, year in, decade out. Chlorine is chlorine. And all these other things, water filtration and food, good clean food as much as you can. It's hard to get though. You go to the supermarkets and things, you got to pay a premium and where's it coming from? Well, it's maybe coming, what was that?
I don't know, something fell. It was like it fell out of the tree.
Yeah, it was, yeah. Okay, so you go and you get some, great, you find some good organic, whatever it is, there we go, at the supermarket. But where's it from? It's from California somewhere. And this is my question, because again, my gut tells me, and I've heard bits and pieces of information to indicate that my gut is correct, that I think something growing in California food is going to be best in terms of immunities and this and that, microbial whatever, for Californians. And maybe not, even if it's shipped pretty quickly and gotten over to a place like Newfoundland, it's grown in different soil and different air and different, the little creepy crawly guys aren't all the same. And kind of like the mother's milk. That's what I'm wondering about. How much is there to that eating something out of your own backyard is going to have kind of a mother's milk effect because it's in your environment and it's exposed to all the kinds of things that you're exposed to, and it's doing its thing that way. How much is there to that?
Well, there's one of the things that has happened in recent years is this movement towards so-called organic food, and the supermarkets and the mass marketers and corporate agriculture has picked up on this because they see it as a means of selling more and getting a higher price for produce, and it's unfortunate. But what is really there's not much real, truly organic about something that comes from all the way from California, with all the transportation costs and all the energy costs that go into transporting it. And if you remember, a few years ago there was a big health scare with organic salad greens, where a few people got sick because what was happening, of course, it was organic in the sense that it may not have been used commercial fertilizers, but they were using polluted water. But there is no question about it, and there's a big movement afoot now to encourage people to eat local.
Makes sense.
And now, local can mean a lot of different things too.
Can indeed.
Local for the supermarkets is for example, in Atlantic Canada, it would be Atlantic Canada is local.
Yes. Yeah, that's right.
But for us in Newfoundland, I mean, I would consider local to be in Newfoundland, or if really local is within an hour's drive or something like that of your.
As close to home as possible, I think, is the rule of thumb.
That's right, and of course, a lot of the economists realize that if you're eating locally, then you're encouraging more industry in your community, and you're encouraging more
self-sufficiency, more independence.
Yes, and it's a sad reflection of what has happened to Newfoundland, because in most of my father's lifetime, when he was a young boy, I mean, I don't think they knew the Depression was on, because they always had lots of food. They produced their own, and
that's what I heard from a lot of people as well. I also heard on the CBC one time during the 50-year Cabot thing, and they were talking, and there was a guy, he was from, I think, somewhere in England, and he was on, and he was saying during the Depression, he was in Toronto, he was in Boston, he was in New York, he was in Newfoundland, he was in Ireland, he was in England, and he said out of everywhere he went. Now, some people in the whole sort of Confederation/anti-Confederation debate who really, really like to emphasize very strongly the idea that we were all twisting around in the mucky streets, all with tuberculosis, and nobody had anything to eat. This guy, who had nothing to gain or nothing to lose, he's not from here or anything. I heard this guy say, this gentleman, that this was people were better off here than he saw in any of the other places. He didn't see the big lines and the soup kitchens and
That's right. Yes. Well, I mean,
a depression's a depression.
That's right. And my father and family grew up in Notre Dame Bay in a little place called Loon Bay, and we had a homestead like very typical of many of the outport communities. They raised their own root vegetables, and they had a pig to kill in the fall, and they had wild game, and like I say, there was no real panic or any real problems, because the world unfolded every year as it always had done. Now it's unfortunate now in the present time that they say there's only about less than a week's supply of food on the island of Newfoundland.
Yeah. I was just going to ask you about that, because I was thinking, like, what's your kind of take on how much food is here, how much is being grown, and
yes, it's unfortunate.
How much could be grown?
Well, of course,
we could grow our
many of the many of the vegetables that grow under our climate, and that is no problem to be self-sufficient. The problem is the economics of it. The farmers find it very difficult to compete right now to compete with the large-scale production of vegetables and meats elsewhere, because it's not only food is not only produced in Canada, but it's internationally traded, and and then people will buy out of season, like you're going into a supermarket and buying strawberries in the wintertime. From
that's the other thing I've heard people say. Eat local and eat in season.
In season. I'm big on eating in season. In fact, we've always pretty well ate the things in season. Now we do have freezers. Most of us have freezers, and so any vegetables like greens and that sort of thing, you can blanch and freeze it, put it in the freezer, and you can have it.
Something else that just comes to my mind. Okay, let's think of the average person. Probably 2.2 children, and both people working, and all that kind of stuff, and they want their strawberries in January and everything. These are the people who are most apathetic about eating and food and whatever in general. It's more about eating on the run and kind of just taking away the hungry feeling or whatever. And I wonder, a certain amount of that has to do with a lack of involvement, buying a lot of frozen stuff and microwave stuff. But this out of season thing, there's a joy in going out when it's blueberry time and getting all them blueberries.
Yeah. And the satisfaction, Jim, of sitting down to a meal that you've preserved or grown yourself, or it's come locally, you know.
Yeah.
Like we've got visitors coming now next week, and I've been thinking, well, we're going to try and prepare as much of our own product. Like I get a moose every fall, of course, and you got a supply of meat and then vegetables and that sort of thing. And the vegetables are in season now, and the fresh ones.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's going to be a pleasure to be able to say, look, everything on this table, or most of the things on this table, came from our own production.
Yeah.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
But the other thing that I find is this, so-called fast food. Well, I haven't got time to prepare things, but of course it does. Is a little bit of a learning curve for younger people to learn.
Especially when they weren't taught growing up.
Going back to basics.
Yeah.
But I think we can prepare a meal as fast as we can get into the car and go to a takeout.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, for one thing, if you know how to cook things, you realize a lot of stuff is overcooked. So there goes most of your time there.
Yes.
Plus you can just go out really very, very close to you and just grab your food.
Yes.
Your corn is there, and your
That's right. Yeah.
whatever you're going to have.
We've got our kitchen garden right next to the house, and so if I want the salad this time of the year, then I'll just simply go out and right when I'm preparing the salad and cut the head of lettuce.
Boy, it's nothing better than that, is there? Yeah.
What a difference in taste.
But I know it's difficult for a lot of urban people to grow much of their own food, but it is there's a certain amount of satisfaction. But here's my observations over the years of what's happened in many places, not only in Newfoundland but all around the world. Is that never before in the history of the world was there a little box in the corner of the living room telling you what to do.
Yes.
Yep.
And the one thing about that little box is that you can't do anything else while you're watching it.
That's right.
That's true.
Yeah.
Well, I make the exception. For those of people who know how to knit, they can knit without looking at it.
Yeah.
But that's about the size of it. And so, with that box telling you what to do and taking up so much time, like in recent years. Well, I shouldn't say in recent years. Probably in 20 years or so, Jim. The proliferation of the video rental shops.
Yep.
Now that takes 3 hours for a movie or something like that.
Something on that. Yep. 2 or 3 hours.
And then I don't have time to prepare a meal.
No.
That's true.
No.
Yeah.
And people even skip meal and just have some microwave popcorn instead.
So it's
why are people getting sick?
It's a bit of a reflection on our attitudes and everything else, but. I mean, to sit down and spend all the time. So, my own, personally, now my wife says I'm a bit crazy, but I haven't watched television for the last almost 10 years. Mm-hmm. Nothing.
Me neither. No joke. We got rid of it.
Yeah.
We don't have it.
No.
If there's anything that we might want to watch, documentaries but that's my main thing. I like things that have to do with a bit of information. Lillian as well, but she likes to just kick back and rest her mind a little bit and watch something a little more.
Watch a movie.
Yeah, my wife likes to watch sports and that sort of thing. But what I do is. I must admit, I do click on the CBC or BBC News on the internet and that sort of thing.
Yeah. There's lots of that.
But mostly the still pictures.
Yeah. Yeah. And, there's a DVD. You can get a DVD, pop it in, whatever. Mm-hmm. That thing with all those ads being tunneled, being high pressure projectile information, advertising, propaganda, whatever you want to call it, that they know is actually going into the eyes and down beneath the subconscious, beneath the conscious mind.
Yeah.
Because of the flicker rate and all these things.
Well, what I found, and this was, I was getting really uptight about it,
Yeah.
because what I found, I'd go in and watch the news. The news was always the big thing you see on the television. Did you, because somebody would be asking you if you saw this on the news and that on the news, and I'd be watching the news. But the next thing, I found myself sitting down and watching something else and something else and something else, and the next thing, half the evening was gone.
Yep. Yeah, that's right.
And I'm kicking myself for not.
Yeah.
And the satisfaction, let's say, for example, just to kind of close the loop, bring the loop around on that, and there's just one more thing after that I'd like to ask you about. Okay, that what we're talking about. So those couple hours in the evening, if you spent that poking around at growing a few things and so on, just the health benefits of, and the peace of mind, the sanity that comes out of it, the sort of a connection to some common sense in your life, as opposed to just all that stuff that's rattling out of that box that you brought up. All of that added up together is only going to lead to a much better sort of sense of satisfaction, better mental and physical health. But again, a lot of people, it's a hard thing to kind of do in a nutshell. But the whole idea of urban farming.
Yes, and it's very popular now to encourage that, and rightly so.
Yeah.
Because
how faddish is it, though? How much of a fad do you think? You know, I mean, it's, you know.
Well, for the people that learn the skills, which are very simple skills, learn the skills and have success, I think it's going to stay an established occupation for many people. Now, one of the things that has happened in recent years in many areas, there's usually associated with the house is a deck outside.
Yep.
And container gardening, like tomatoes, herbs, cucumber, a lot of vegetables can be grown in containers on decks.
Green onions, garlic, things like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
No problem, and I think that's something that.
Why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you?
Exactly.
Yeah, but if you're it depends on the situation. But like I say, even the smallest amount contributes to the overall benefit of food production. You know.
Yeah.
Sure. It's so rewarding too, I must say.
Mm.
You know,
I think
to see something grow. Incredible.
Yes. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Well,
maybe something that might be a little encouragement. You know, there's a spoonful of sugar always helps the medicine go down, and all this and that. We've been talking about peace of mind and everything, but there's also sometimes the stick can help get things done too. Sometimes, so you were saying about Newfoundland roughly has a week's worth of food. I would like the listeners to just stop for a moment and think about what they have in their house or apartment or whatever. Do they have a week, or is it a day, or is it 2 days? If something went wrong, if there were an earthquake or some natural or man-made disaster or martial law or what, I don't know what, how long could they hunker down, and if their answer is anything less than a week, I think they should start thinking about that.
Well, it's always nice to have a sense of security, no matter where we are or who we are. If we've got some security, and security for food is just as important as security for as far as safety is concerned.
Yeah, that's right. Everyone's worried about, like I said, safety. They want their kids to be safe, and they want to be safe, from, I don't know, the boogeyman or whatever, or all the crime that's actually decreased in the last 30 years. And still, it seems that we need to militarize things more and more and give... Anyway, that's a whole other topic for another day.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
But the last thing I was going to ask you about is seawater.
Yes.
It's somewhat of a kind of an Ezekiel kind of something that seems to have been known about for a long, long time, and I haven't heard this. This seems to me not to have made the fad sort of gardening and growing discussions that I've heard anyway. But there seems to be an awful lot of very, very good scientific data that indicates that things that grow in the oceans have more longevity and more health and whatever, well, at least for now, let's see what, BP and other people do about that, but than things that grow on the land.
Well, let's look at it from a cultural point of view in different cultures. Let's look at the Japanese culture, for example.
Yep.
One of the things that it goes back to ancient history, and I've had some discussion with my Japanese friends about this, is that it goes back to ancient history in Japan, is that meat was prohibited for being produced because meat was livestock was a very big consumer of land resources, and Japan being a very small country, then they had to produce grain in the form of rice, of course, which and wheat too, but mostly rice, and so they had for their protein sources they had to look to the sea.
Take your meat out me rice. Yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
And so, like for example, the cultivation of seaweed as edible seaweed is a big thing in Japan, a major industry.
Yeah.
And like you're right, Jim, in the fact that it's very healthy. Food.
And it's
recognized, full of minerals. And
but I think here's the thing that this as I'm sure you know, I'm leading up to this. It's not just healthy for the food eaters. It's healthy for the food.
Yes. Yeah, and so the and in Newfoundland, I mean, our connection with the ocean when it comes to food production, of course, was naturally salt cod, which we settled Newfoundland for. But when it came to production of food on the land, the major source of nutrients before the days of commercial fertilizer was kelp or seaweed.
Yes, right. That's what we used. We used a lot, and capelin.
And the small fish and fish offal was utilized to grow food.
Yeah.
And so this was the major source of nutrients. But seaweed is still recognized. I mean, it is recognized all over that seaweed is promotes the growth of plants over and above chemical fertilizer.
Yep, we used actual seawater as well.
Yes. Now, seawater is a debatable point, Jim.
Yeah,
it's a debatable point because too much can pollute the soil with salt, and you can impede the growth of plants. So you have to be very, very careful.
Yeah, I hear there are some products though that again, I don't know if we're getting into faddish kind of miracle stuff or whatever, but I think there are some sea salts and things that are used that are developed specifically so that you're not just pouring seawater onto your soil.
You'd have to desalinate the water to a point because any amount of seawater would pollute the soil to the point that you would, if you continued use, you wouldn't be able to grow plants.
Yeah.
But I should mention that I wrote a book on cool climate gardening.
Okay.
And it was based on questions and answers that I've been asked over the years, and we organized it in a question and answer format. And the book deals with a lot of it with questions about the use of seaweed and kelp and that sort of thing, and how to use it so that you take the advantage of it.
Okay. And where can people, you have your website, I guess?
At my website, traversegardens.com.
Okay.
traversegardens.com, and you can check out the book there at the website. Yeah.
Traverse as in cross the road?
As in cross the road with an E, traverse with an E, yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay. Well, I think that's it. I think we'd just like to thank you for one thing, for giving us a hand, kind of getting things.
Well, thanks for the opportunity.
Growing this year, growing.
Yeah, thanks for the opportunity.
For coming out and having a chat, and hopefully, some people will go over and have a look at your website, learn a few things, and
that's right. There's some useful links there too. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just got one last question actually, because I saw this on your website.
Where's the corn?
Yeah, where's the corn? Yeah. You had a book launch, and you.
On the book launch. Yeah, that was a promotional thing that I did on the book launch. I said, well, if we're going to launch something,
right, yes.
If we're going to launch something in Newfoundland, we'll launch something into the ocean,
Mm-hmm.
which is the traditional word for launch in Newfoundland. You're launching a boat or whatever.
Yep.
So anyway, I said, trying to figure out what to do, but anyway, we came up with the idea of a canister, a lightweight canister, a fuel canister that backpackers use,
Mm-hmm.
with a waterproof seal, and I put messages in it and a $100 reward for anybody that found this canister. And we sent it up in helium-filled party balloons, and it sailed out over the ocean. Well, we didn't know where it sailed. It
got into the jet stream, I guess.
Sailed out over Torbay, but no, it wouldn't stay up any more than a day.
Okay.
Because these party balloons, they don't last too long.
Yeah.
So anyway, we didn't know where it went. I thought somebody in Flat Rock might come back for their $100 reward the next day, you know. But I had forgotten about it, and about 6 months later, my wife took the call and she said, "Oh, they found your bottle." I said, "Oh, something I hid away." I figured it was my bottle I had hid away, right?
No, the other one.
No. Oh, she said, "No, they called from Scotland." She said they found the bottle on the island in Scotland. And so I called them back, and sure enough, it was actually a conservation group that worked for the Royal Society for the Protection of Birds, and they were cleaning up a beach or walking the beach, and they saw the canister and they picked it up and just opened it up, and there was the message. And so then they called, and to make a long story short, about 3 years later, my wife bought me a ticket to go to Scotland to meet the people who found the canister.
Wow.
And then we got over there, and they treated us really good. And then we went out to the island and saw the beach where the canister had landed in the Inner Hebrides, an island called Colonsay. There's a little write-up on my website about it.
Okay.
So anyway, yeah, and then the BBC called, and we ended up on the BBC News.
Wow.
I understand there's some organic farms in that area too.
Yes, there is. In fact, much like many of the small farms and gardens in that in the Hebrides and other places that are much like old traditional Newfoundland. You know, the use of seaweed, organic, natural organic materials, and that it's quite. It was quite an interesting comparison to Newfoundland.
Yeah.
Many of the old systems for growing vegetables were which our ancestors brought over from the old country.
Yeah.
They probably originated from Scotland, Ireland.
And I guess just to talk about closing the loop or whatever, I would say the growing season in much of Ireland, Scotland, England, Wales, whatever, would be comparable to certain areas of Newfoundland.
Yes, that's right. There's different microclimates, but there on this island where the bottle landed were gardens that and things were growing much the same as they would grow in Outport, Newfoundland.
Wow. Have you ever had a chance to go to the northern tip of Scotland? I forget the town. But the Gulf Stream washes in on the shore, and they got palm trees there.
Oh yeah, well that's in actually the some of the islands, yes, but not on this island, no.
Okay. Well, thanks again.
Well, thanks, Jim and Lillian, and for the opportunity.
And everybody, go on over to his website. What's the website again? Traverse Gardens.
Traverse Gardens, all one word, traversegardens.com.
Okay, go on over there and check it out, and we'll catch you all on the other side.
This is Newfoundland's first podcast. You're with the Rover.
Republic of Avalon Radio on your iPhone, iPad, or iPod Touch.
Really?
Available now in the iTunes App Store.
Right on.
Get it today.
Yeah.
Hello there, here is MC from the VDC Scene From Here podcast, podcasting from Montreal. You are right now listening to the Republic of Avalon Radio.
Republic of Avalon Radio.
Either you're with us or you're with the terrorists.
You're with the roar!
Hi all, this is Lillian, and I'm coming to you from our car, which is parked outside, just outside the house here. And I thought I would just bring you this little bit of weather, a weather report, I guess, during Hurricane Igor, which is scheduled to pass directly over the Republic of Avalon in 6 hours. So it's about, I think it's about 500 kilometers away now, and it's 10 o'clock in the morning, and I'm just going to let you hear the rain for a second. Now I'm going to open the window and let you hear a little bit more. It's starting to really come down out there, and they've actually given a wind warning up to, I don't know, it could be anywhere from 80 kilometers an hour to 150 kilometers an hour, plus a rainfall warning up to 100 millimeters of rain today, which is a lot. That's about 4 inches, I think. And also, I think it was, between 100 and 150 millimeters of rain. And also a hurricane warning and a tropical storm warning. So we got 4 warnings going on today. And the hurricane is scheduled, as I say, to pass directly over the Republic of Avalon in 6 hours from now. So, anyway, I don't know what's going to happen, how bad it's going to get, but I thought it would be interesting to record that and let you hear it, and maybe when I hear back later and see what's actually going to come, this might make for an interesting recording. So I will actually check back in during the day and let you hear some more rain and wind and what's happening here in the Republic of Avalon.
It's starting to get a little more serious. There have been some serious things going on, some fires starting, and as you can probably hear, the wind is starting to come up somewhat fierce. So I'm not quite familiar with what to do under these circumstances. One thing I'm monitoring very closely right now is I went around and opened up some windows and things so as to create an airflow so that we don't have like a window blow in. I'm monitoring it though, because maybe that's the opposite of what I'm supposed to be doing. Okay, look, there's a pretty good bit of wind coming in. It's just wind starting to come in from everywhere. The wind is really on the rise. I guess you can hear me. I'm just standing in my hallway, in our hallway. And I mean, I've never heard wind like that. What?
I didn't know who you were talking to.
Yeah, I've never heard wind like that. I'm just standing here in the hallway, and it's just, it's down. Oh no, Puss, you don't want to go out there.
Krista just said that there's a, outside her house,
Yeah.
there's a transformer that's like just blown up, like, and then Newfoundland Power can't come and do anything about it. I guess they're too busy.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it sounds pretty bad up there. Maybe we're a little bit protected there.
We're in a very lucky spot here, I think, even though we should keep an eye here. We are in as good a spot, I think, as you're going to find. But like I said, I got these windows open. There's a lot of breeze coming through. But in the case of a big gust of wind, like that one, you know what I mean? Like, it's not just going to blow the window in.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There's an escape. You know, there's the wind. There's a place the wind can get in through that hole.
You know, I do think we're pretty sheltered here. We're pretty lucky.
We are. There's no doubt about that. We're extremely lucky. Just bring him up to the window so you can check out what's going on. Just bring him up to the window. Put him up on the windowsill. Hey, Puss.
The lights just blinked again. They're blinking, yeah.
And you even have to wonder about possible projectiles. Like I'm trying to monitor, but if a tree snapped off a branch snapped off a tree, that could just come right in through that window, like a sharpened projectile.
And the trees are pretty tall out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do they seem to be holding up?
They seem to be doing good.
Can you see them kind of?
I mean, you can hear it. It's just crazy.
Well, what can you see the trees? Are they bending at all,
They're
or?
bending a lot, and the ones out front here, especially, I think the ones out back are doing better than the ones out front here.
Yeah.
So like the ones across the street are the trees and keep going back.
Okay. Hang on. I nor the folks can hear a thing you're saying.
Bill across the street
Yeah.
said he was worried about the tree right in front. Is it like in his front yard?
Yeah.
It's a really big tree.
Okay. All right. So I'm wondering, what about the table and the chairs outside?
I don't know. Do you think I should do anything with it?
Well, where are they right now? Are they kind of right in the corner?
They're, yeah. But I mean, they could probably be battened down better.
Okay. We might want to have a look at it. Because there's no, if we can avoid everything, you know, one of those chairs or that table lifts up and comes right through our window, that wouldn't be very good. The folks' patio furniture is a nice idea. But when the wind blows, not so good. So we have had, there has been some injury and some death involved with this thing too. I just heard about a fellow who was just, he left his house, he was just going to check very nearby his house on a friend's country house, apparently, and he stepped on the road, and the road gave out right from under his feet, and he got washed away. And that's not terribly far from here. Well, it's not right here in the Waterford River Valley, but
Everything's pretty, seems pretty protected out back here, though.
well,
There's
let's
nothing really.
just check it. Just step out here.
There's a few tree limbs down here, though.
Yeah?
Small ones.
Yeah, well, the small ones, geez, I'm just about getting sucked out the door with the wind. Careful of this door here. Okay.
If I stack all the chairs on top of each other, then they'll be heavier.
Yeah, but if we get the winds that people are reporting, then that's one big projectile. I'd put them down on their side.
Okay.
Stack them all together and then put them down on their side and push them right in against the The wall there. And turn the table upside down too. That'll do it. Okay, I'm making my way back in here. And the power is kind of on and off. We've got some blinking power. But we have we bought these lights. They're spotlights on the bottom. Some insane. What are these things? These lights out here? Just have a little look. What are they? What kind? How many candle power and stuff? Huh? Oh, she's still outside. Talking to myself. There, I get in here out of that as soon as you can. Just turn the table flat, totally upside down. What was that? What? I don't want one of those branches to come flying off the tree and impale you.
Okay, I'm coming.
Okay. Alright. Safe for the moment. But I mean, everything in all directions is nothing but wind. And we don't have the serious of it yet. And it's getting very strong. This is beyond any wind that we're used to already. So everything's looking pretty secure out there?
Yeah.
You turn the table upside down and push it like right into the corner?
Yeah. And the chairs are on their sides.
Okay. Right in against the wall. Well, I should be fine. I would say like the water thing is not an issue anymore. I mean that absolute complete 100 and some odd millimeters we had, that's over. I mean, listen. Jeez Louise. I'd almost want to be standing away from doors and windows.
Yeah.
At this point. That's kind of the point we've reached here. Like a limb does come off a tree, there's nothing slowing that sucker down. That's just going to come right on in through. And if you're standing in the way.
Exactly.
What am I smelling? Maybe. I could be just smelling the air too. Like the tropical air. It's foreign. It's foreign.
That comes from Bermuda, I think.
Well.
Like the hurricane, I believe.
Yeah. How do you spell Igor, folks?
I-G-O-R.
That's what I thought. That's what I thought. That didn't sound so promising, did it? What was that? Not just the wind. What was that rumbly noise?
I thought it would sound like a door closing.
No, it was a rumbling.
I don't know.
So the thing you got to be mindful here too is in high winds, wires can, the wires up on the poles can touch together and spark.
What about our fire extinguisher? That's upstairs, isn't it? In the,
Oh, that's good. Like if you could probably put out like someone's cigarette with that. The best thing we got for something like that is our hose outside.
Okay.
So.
Just think about these things ahead of time so that we don't panic.
Yeah. So the hose outside, just in case of something like that, the hose outside is connected, right?
Yeah.
And where's the gun? The gun that goes on it.
It's right out there on the thing.
Okay. And this is cleared away if we had to make a rush for the breakers or anything like that. That area there is open.
It is.
Okay.
Okay, but I'm looking at my Facebook friends now who are, telling what's going on.
Tell the folks.
Bonnie Deachenhart, power is out, but we still have a landline for now and our cell phones. Samantha, here she blows, wrapped around and we're getting it. But yay. But hey, this ain't Disneyland, this is Newfoundland.
Okay.
John Rich is rather impressed with Newfoundland Power for keeping the lights on this long. Lisa Stagg, heads up for anyone heading into Mount Pearl. Traffic on Topsail Road is backed up from Walton's Mountain to Mount Pearl Square. Maggie Meyer finds herself worrying about the family on Bell Island. They do have a wood stove, though, and plenty of cats, so freezing won't be an issue.
Well, it's not going to freeze.
No. Jamie O'Leary, power just went out here. Get your candles ready now, people. Don't wait until it's dark out. Just saying. I'm expecting this evening. Good thing the laptop is powered up. At least if the power goes out, I'll have music for an hour or so. Jeff Meeker, power just went out in this part of CBS manuals. Anybody else get hit? How far does it reach? Mark Hiscock, now for the real Igor. Holy crap, the wind is stronger now than it was this morning. Gone around to the northwest from southerly. Better get me wire stays out from the basement and lash her down on the corners. He lives out on the Battery.
Oh, good Lord.
Yeah.
I don't even... I'd probably be getting out of there.
Really? Taryn Stone is freaked out right now. My home is shaking. The roof is making a noise. The rain is pounding down. I really feel uncomfortable right now. It is time for Igor to pack up and head out. He's outstayed his welcome. Sean Fulford. Wind has suddenly picked up in Torbay. House is shaking.
Uh-huh.
Wow. Bonnie again. Okay, folks, with the storm raging out here above my head and the conditions getting worse, don't be too surprised if I end up being offline for a bit due to the power outages.
I wonder if Taryn wants to come up here. Huh?
Yeah, well, do you want to... I could send her a message.
Tell her she's welcome to come up here if she wants. We got lots of soup, and we're in a really pretty protected area here.
The lights just blinked again.
The lights are blinking. They're blinking lights. So we're giving you coverage, obviously, of Hurricane Igor. And hopefully there will be no gore. Hopefully, we can... But, I mean, you just don't know what's going to happen. So we're monitoring the situation here. I'm not one to overreact to things, but I'm not one of these people who just pretends everything is okay either. I was a Boy Scout. I was always a problem solver. We're both ham radio operators. We've got full communications in case of anything going wrong, or if things went really bad, we could make ourselves available for communications. And that's in the house or in the car. So even if we have no power, if the power goes in the house and so on, we can go into the car and we have communications. In fact, that might not even be a bad idea.
What, to go in the car?
Just go into the car and just, I don't know though. I'm hearing about car windows blowing in.
Mm.
Might it be an idea to open the windows in the car a little bit?
Maybe. I could do that, sure.
See, I don't know. I wish I knew somebody I could ask about that.
You know what? We could probably, while we still have computers, we could probably do a search or something on that.
Okay. What to do during a hurricane?
Yep.
Try that. Because do you close everything all up tight and then make, sit back and hope for the best? Or do you create some openings so that the air can get through, and so if a big gust of wind comes at your window?
Here we go.
Right.
This is from FEMA.
Okay.
Listen to the radio or TV for information. Secure your home, close storm shutters, and secure outdoor objects or bring them indoors. Turn off utilities if instructed to do so. Otherwise, turn the refrigerator thermostat to its coldest setting and keep its doors closed. Turn off propane tanks. Avoid using the phone except for serious emergencies. Moor your boat if time permits. Ensure a supply of water for sanitary purposes such as cleaning and flushing toilets. Fill the bathtub and other large containers with water. You should evacuate under the following conditions.
Never mind. We won't be evacuating, I don't think. I don't know about that whole business. I have to wonder,
Stay away from windows and glass doors. Close all interior doors. Secure and brace external doors. Keep curtains and blinds closed. Do not be fooled if there is a lull. It could be the eye of the storm. Take refuge in a small interior room, closet, or hallway on the lowest level. Lie on the floor under a table. Well, we don't. It's not going to be that bad, I don't think.
I don't think we have to know. Not at this point. Lie on the floor under a table. We've not even had to drop the drink.
We can always get into our homemade beer.
We got lots of beer here.
I just got a message from Krista. I just sent her because I was talking to her on the phone and her phone went dead.
Great.
She says, "No, I'm so." I asked her, "Is she okay?" And she said, "No, I'm so worried. I can't figure out where he could be. I just want to know if he's okay." That's Andrew. He's missing. Otherwise, the place is okay. Mom got home, thank God, through flooded streets. The damn mall is still open. Great.
Of course. Shop, shop, shop. We were going to possibly go get the new iPod Touch today. What if the future shop is still going? Because, I mean, the hurricane's long over there. They're in the future.
Andrew will show up. Don't forget he is MacGyver.
That's true. But there are bridges and roads washing out and stuff. It only takes 1 second.
I know, yeah.
It can be a rush, you know? You can't anticipate it.
Yeah. I hope he's taking refuge somewhere. Like, it's probably too windy to be even walking.
Well, that's what I heard in some places. You can't stand up.
Jesus, oh my God. Oh, that was something upstairs, one of the doors, I think.
I better check on that. Maybe my thinking wasn't correct. Maybe we should. Okay.
Bend down hatches?
Hey, Puss. Puss just took a dart across the floor.
Should I close this door?
Yeah, close the window in it.
Okay.
And then close the door behind it. I'm going to do the same up here. Hang on there, folks. I am going to... Oh, the fly screen is blown in. Oh, jeez, I can't budge this. Hang on there. I'm not having any luck here. Hey, Puss. Hey. Oh, I can't get this to budge. Okay, I'll just close the window.
He's kind of oblivious to it all.
He's hardly oblivious. Are you kidding me? Okay. Alright, I'm getting the window up here now. Dear? Can you come on up and give me a hand?
Sure.
Close the storm windows and then close the inside windows in the room there. I'm doing the same here. Okay. Alright, folks. I'm upping the screen and downing the window. And I'll down the screen too. And I'll down the window. What? The trees down in the valley? There's a song in that. Okay, so the storm outside windows are closed?
I can't get this window up.
Oh, you got it. There you go. Okay, folks. This is quite fascinating, I must say. And what about the back bedroom here?
The back bedroom's that one.
Okay. And what do we have in the way of windowage here in the laundry?
The window's open there.
Okay, but what do we have? Is there a storm window?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. We're lucky we got double windows everywhere. We got storm windows outside and then windows inside.
And then there's my room.
Okay. And is there a storm window on the outside? And
yeah.
Okay. Down the storm window, down the screen, and then down the inside window. Alright, so we have plenty of, we've got some batteries on charge there now. As well, we've got those lights I was mentioning earlier. We got them charging, at least until the power goes out. And those things are amazing. Those things are spotlights, something like, I don't know, a couple of million candle power. But that's on the bottom. On the top, they're actually like lanterns. And they're LEDs. They give you plenty of light, and each one of those is good for like 30 hours of light. So, I mean, if we got in a spot with the power out, we could just completely not have to worry.
Whoa.
What? What?
The trees out here.
Yeah.
There's leaves blowing everywhere.
Okay. You're not exactly staying away from the window, are you? All right. So, any other windows anywhere?
No, I think that's it.
The ones upstairs here are the most important, I think, because that's, you know, once you get down on the lower level of the house, we're so protected. We're in such a... Hey, Puss. What are you doing? Oh, boy. Puss, do you think he's oblivious? He's not oblivious. He knows what's going on. Hey, Puss. Don't you worry. You'll be okay, Puss. You'll be okay. Yeah. Yeah, we got your back, Puss. He's clinging. He's pushed right up against my leg here. Yeah, Puss. Yeah, we'll be okay. All right. Yeah, I know, and if one of them let go, it will come right across here.
It would.
Now, which way is the wind blowing? That's the question. I thought I heard someone say the wind swung around to the northwest. So that would mean that it's blowing... No, it's not blowing that way.
It's blowing easterly, like back and forth, east and west.
What?
It seems to be going east and west, back and forth, like kind of swirling around more than...
Okay. All right. I just want to reinforce this window out here. Okay, folks, that's we'll just leave it at there for the moment and come back hopefully with good news. But hopefully we'll be able to come back with some news. How's that? Let me try to get this. Jesus. Okay, I couldn't get that. There we are. Okay, that's completely closed now. Alright. Well, we've battened down the hatches and we will check back with you. Alright, so here we are. We are back. We said we'd check back and here we are. This is actually the next day. And
yes.
Let's see. Let's just go out and open the back door and let folks hear what is to be heard. We are passing through the studio here now, through the root cellar, and still a bit breezy, but back to normal. Wouldn't you say?
I would say.
What's the reportage on the branches and?
Well, there's lots of, tips of branches, small pieces of branch that fell down during all the wind.
Any here on the patio on the deck?
Yeah.
Wow, really?
Stuff here, yeah.
Jeez Louise.
All kinds of, wow, lots of it actually.
Good Lord.
And, but we don't have nothing blew over.
How are the antennas looking up there?
Fine.
Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Hee.
Yeah. So we fared pretty well here.
Hurricane safe antennas. That's very good.
Mm-hmm.
And so the word is we are safe and sound. Everything went well. We got some water in the basement, but nothing serious. Probably in the deepest spot, maybe less than an inch or so.
Yeah, probably an inch or inch and a half, something like that.
But that was just in one spot, like in the middle of the room, kind of thing.
Yeah, the whole basement floor got wet, like almost from the whole thing, but it wasn't serious.
Oh, good.
We got it under control thanks to my friend.
Yes,
our
good friend, Joy.
Who came over, her and her son, when she found out what was happening. They came from the other end of town, drove over here, which the roads weren't very good either. They drove all the way over here and hand-delivered their shop vac so I could get the water up off the floor. Yeah.
Wow, thank you. Thank you a whole bunch. Thanks a whole bunch to Danny and Joy, and by extension to Graham and Eleanor as well.
Yeah.
And
don't know what I would have done.
Yeah. So that was a big help, and no damage, no major damage. A few CDs got a bit wet. And how are they looking? Are they looking okay?
They're fine. I had to just, some of the liner notes weren't going to make it. But the CDs themselves, some of them were wet, and I just dried them off and then put them.
Any titles stick out in your mind that you said?
Supertramp, some Bob Marley. What else?
Okay, so for
lots of Bob there.
For future reference, those CDs that are, you want to save the liner notes. You don't want to throw them out or whatever. They'll be okay.
They're drying now, but I just took them out of their cases.
Okay.
And just nothing really important. No musical instruments or anything like that.
No. One interesting thing to report is that Andrew and Krista came over. My brother Andrew, and. So he was just went down to the basement, was giving you a hand, just sort of with the kind of sucking up with the wet vac of the water, and then carrying the buckets over, I guess, hey?
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Just as they were doing that, Lillian notices, what the heck is that? And what was it? What happened?
Well, I heard something spraying and sort of caught it out of the corner of my eye, and I thought the shop vac was leaking or spraying or something. I turned behind, and one of the pipes, the copper pipes, had just kind of exploded.
Just totally sprung a leak. Apparently 5 leaks at the same time, like 5 pinholes, and it was just totally spraying out water. I guess it was with the weather and just the whole system. Sometimes sewers back up and this and that. And we didn't have any of that happen, but apparently the pressure had kind of ruptured a water pipe and sprang like 5 leaks. And just as luck should have it, they were standing right there when it happened. So Andrew kind of did a little kind of a tourniquet and got it under control. And another thanks as well to our neighbor Robert, who came over post haste. We got he kind of Andrew sort of tied it up and then turned off the water main, and then Robert came over and did a little job with a bit of soldering to close up the leaks. So that could have been major damage.
Oh yeah, I mean, it was just luck that we were there, because we just got there like 5 minutes before
and caught it right as it happened.
Because we were upstairs, and I had just come down, and they came. Andrew and Krista showed up, and then him and I went downstairs, and we weren't down there 5 minutes, but this thing broke.
Wow.
So if we were upstairs sleeping, it could have been like, wow.
That could have been the ruination of everything in the basement.
Yeah, for sure.
So, wow. So big, huge thanks as well to Robert.
Yes.
You're a good man.
You're a good man, Robert.
And actually, the whole section and a half of pipe needs to be replaced, and he's going to help us with that. So
yeah, and luckily it's not, like you say, no damage, and we have water. It's just the only thing we don't have is cold water in the kitchen, but we
temporarily.
Have upstairs.
But upstairs is fine, and everything's good,
Mm-hmm.
and we're safe.
Yeah,
and we're warm.
Yes, and we only we lost our internet and phone for a short period of time.
It was gone all night, actually.
Yeah.
It's funny, after the worst of the storm was over, the internet went down, and that was probably due to the guys out trying to do repairs and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, but we
big thumbs up to the lads too, to the light and power boys. The light and power boys.
People are still in the city. There's a lot of people that still don't have power. I was talking to a few people today, actually, and still no power for lots.
And parts outside of St. John's are really bad.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, outside, we mentioned that we're in a really lucky place here, more so than most people in St. John's. But I think even St. John's, compared to a lot of other places, it was lucky.
Mm-hmm. Some whole houses just practically
swept away,
destroyed. Yeah.
So I heard there were some houses just swept away. Scary stuff. But anyway, here we are. It wasn't as bad as Katrina, Igor. But it was the worst that perhaps we've ever had, or at least to memory.
Well, that's what they were saying on the radio, that this is the worst storm in history for Newfoundland.
Yeah.
This type, not a snowstorm. Well, snowstorms don't get that bad.
No.
With the wind and...
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Okay, folks, so we will be roaring on. We're safe. We're alive. We're still here. And there will be more roar to come. And... everything's A-okay, and we're just gearing up for episode 100.
Yay.
Next Thursday night at Erin's Pub.
Yeah.
Next Thursday night, September 30th, 2010.
Yes. Looking forward to it. We've got some people on board that confirmed, and everything's going ahead.
We do. We have, let's see, we have Terri Lynn Eddy and Renee Batten and... Freddie Jorgenson and Arthur O'Brien and John Barella and Hugh Scott and a couple of other people that are going to be filling out. Dave Panting, as I mentioned at the beginning of the show, is going to be finishing out the night. I'm going to be getting up and doing a set, and we got a little surprise or two for you guys all lined up. So that's it for now, and it's a long episode. Hope you all enjoy it, and we're very happy to be here, still actually able to finish the show off and get it up for you.
Yes. Okay.
So for now, take care of each other, and that goes from me.
And me too.
And we'll catch you all next time for episode 98.
Getting up there.
Mm-hmm.
Let's get close.
Catch you guys all soon.
Bye.
Root Cellar production.